to the Boxing Coalition.
They say what you don't know won't hurt you, paying debts for your soul, and at the end hope the devil don't reimburse you. When a life is sin, it's like a boxing match between good and evil. Life is the ring, the money is Don King. Your referee's your destiny, your trainers like your conscience. Beat yourself up with guilt trips, doing the wrong thing. Duck and dive just to survive. The commentators are the hip-hop writer critics. Watch your style, studying techniques, jab the body punches, how I rep beats. The blood splash on the gangster suit in the front seat. They wanna see my blood, my injuries are the entertainment, but I'm the gladiator, all my flows interchanging. Henry Cooper, the British version of Marciano, defying biological laws, my arms grow, the reach gets longer, stamina much stronger. I'll punch your motherfucking face off cause I'm a monster.
You could be here next week if you want, just live your life and try enjoy it. Just remember so life goes on, whether you live it calm or you real McCoy. Situations get me angry, but I keep my cool and take it easy cause only just
It's the Boxing Coalition, motherfuckers.
We're gonna talk about the fucking fights this weekend, dude. Broner. I don't know. I'll start off about the main event, man. I'm fucking sick of hearing these people giving Broner credit. You know, like I actually like Broner going into the fight. Thought he was a entertaining guy, decently skilled as well, but defensively very flawed. But I rewatched the fight again today in HD so I could like properly see it. And man, he took a fucking ass beating, man. There's no other way to say it. I think he. I don't think it was even close. I saw some people today on Twitter as well saying they could give him like 5 rounds, maybe. Is there anyone else here that maybe scored it that way?
Nice. Had it very, very close, I believe, or not most close than any other people. But I agree with you, Kimo. A lot of people are giving a lot of props to Broner, but he got his ass whooped. I mean, Maidana dropped him twice, humped him back again in the 10th round, he brushed his hair, and he practically kicked it away from the ring. I mean, the guy didn't even, he didn't give an interview at the end of the fight. I mean, he whooped his ass.
He looked like a broken man, man. That's what I saw. The way he walked out the ring, like, he looked mentally broken as well. I'm really, really curious how he's going to bounce back from this as well, because this is a tough loss, man, especially because he was like a 5-1, Maidana was like a 5-1 underdog. Broner had everything going for him, and now he's just, he took an ass whooping for 12 rounds, man. I'm really curious how they're going to try to bring him back, if he even comes back, actually.
At least he didn't quit like Victor Ortiz.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we got to remember here. I mean, the guy, it was a shit performance, but, you know, he showed a lot of heart in there. And he's still trying to win the fight in the 12th round. So, you know, that is what you can take from this fight. But obviously,
well, you know what? Someone also brought up a good point, Stuart, and that's that, like, people say that he showed a lot of heart, but he basically did what he's supposed to do. I think our standards are so low now that if someone actually finishes a fight, that, you know, we're saying that they showed heart. I mean, if the fight would have got stopped, when Adrien wanted it to get stopped, and he looked like he was trying to find his way out of the fight, we'd be having a whole nother discussion about how he showed no heart. So, you know, I give him credit for definitely having a decent chin, you know, for being able to survive in there. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to wait and see how he comes back from this. And if he really has the heart of a champion or if he was just a paper champion, we're gonna have to see.
I think that's... Sorry for interrupting. Where do you think he's going next? What's his next fight, Jacob?
It's going to be interesting, like we talked about. I mean, obviously the Maidana fight, a rematch would be huge because this first fight was big. Everyone's talking about it. It's a trending topic. So the rematch would be huge. But then if you're Golden Boy, do you have enough faith in this guy that he could go back in there and actually win the rematch? Because if he takes that loss, you know, it could be the end of his career. So he's either going back to 140 or it's going to be a rematch with Marcos Maidana. But, you know, from this point on, no matter what he does, this guy has to dedicate himself to the sport of boxing. Else either way, he's going to be screwed. People think that if he goes down to 140, all of a sudden that's going to fix all of his problems. This guy doesn't go in the gym and start taking this sport as seriously as it should be taken, then he's just going to be done.
I don't know, man. What I saw as well, and I haven't seen that many people talk about it, I personally thought, again, I watched it on a shitty stream before, so I couldn't really tell properly, but now that I've watched it again, Broner looked very, very small in the ring, man. Like, if you look at the size of his legs, his back compared to Maidana. Maidana looked fucking huge compared to him, man. He was muscling him around as well. Like, even though I agree with you, like, training-wise, he should really go back to the basics, but I also think he should move down, man. I mean, 147 is not a good weight class for him. He's simply not big enough.
Yeah, but the problem is, he's not going to get no credit, because people are going to say, you had one good challenge at 147, you got beat, so you went down to pick on the smaller guys. I mean, the only way this guy can get some credit is to rematch Maidana and beat his ass.
But Stuart, 140 has animals as well, man. I mean, look at the 140 division. There's plenty of guys he can fight.
Yeah, he'd have to go and beat Danny Garcia. He'd have to go and take Danny Garcia's belts off him to get any respect. But I mean, the guy is the laughing stock of the internet at the moment. I feel sorry for the guy. I really do. I mean, he's still a kid at the end of the day. So, But yeah, that's my opinion on that one.
Yeah, he even deleted his Facebook page and shit, man. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, he has to right or wrong. I mean, that's what has to happen, because the fans don't want any other fight. I mean, I don't want to see Broner fight anyone else but Maidana too, and I think Broner will win the next fight, because I think he'll make adjustments, and I think he'll take this fight more serious. His career's on the line big time in his next fight. He loses that one, he might as well call it a day and try rapping, because he's going to be nowhere on the boxing scene. So this is the one he needs. Maidana too. I think he can win it, and I think that's what's going to get him back some sort of respect back, because at the moment he's the laughing stock.
I think that it's too risky a second fight against Maidana. I think there are a lot of guys that Broner could beat very easily. I mean, look at how Maidana bounced back when he lost to Devon Alexander. He fought Jesus Soto Caras. It was a good win. It wasn't a close fight until Maidana got the stoppage. But then he fought Josecito Lopez. There are good second-tier names that Broner could fight and bounce back, and eventually got a rematch with Maidana, because he's young. He has time to rebuild his career.
But here's the thing. Here's the only problem with that, though. Like, we already know that Golden Boy could obviously put this guy Adrien Broner in the ring with some more Gavin Reeses, and he's gonna obviously get past that test easily. But the problem is, the microscope was under Broner, and everybody saw what happened in this Maidana fight. This was his biggest fight yet. Everyone's seen it. So I don't think they could pull the wool over everyone's eyes again and try to build him back up that way. I think that at the end of the day, you got to get him in there and get his credibility back. And he has to fight. He's got to fight some names. If he's gonna go down to 140, he's got to fight the who's who down there. So I think even going down to 140, like I said, I think it's the better decision, because he's not a true welterweight. He's not. But even that being said, if he goes down to 140, he's got to take everybody seriously down there, and it's not a foregone conclusion that he dominates that division as well, because he's still going to run into a guy like Matisse and some other great fighters, Danny Garcia. So he's going to have to dedicate himself to actually training. And like Stuart said, he was humbled this weekend, so we'll see, man. We'll see what's next for him.
But don't you think that at 147, for example, a Devon Alexander fight, that will be good? I mean, Devon doesn't have the same style that Maidana. I think that Maidana...
Yeah, Devon won't hurt
It was too aggressive. Broner wasn't prepared for that. I mean, he was always fighting smaller guys, and I think that you should take a fight that fits his style. I mean, for example, a Provodnikov fight will be a terrible matchup for him, but I think an Alexander and Amir Khan are good fights, and he can win those fights.
See, I don't know. I'm not so sure, because here's the deal. We saw the Paulie Malignaggi fight, and Paulie Malignaggi, he has a high offensive output, and so does Devin Alexander, and so does Amir Khan. And Adrian's problem as well has been laziness. He just doesn't throw a lot of punches per round. Like I was talking to some people earlier, he reminds me a lot of Canelo Alvarez, to tell you the truth. I mean, he doesn't throw a lot of punches. He fights guys who are a lot smaller than him. So, when he gets in there with a guy who has an advantage over him, like speed, or who throws a lot of shots, that's another problem. So, to me, he's got to go back to the drawing board and just work on training. There's matchup problems everywhere for him from 140 to 147. So, he's just got to get in the gym and put the work in my opinion, and stop messing around with these strippers and these rappers, and actually, dedicate himself to this sport.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he needs to get away. He needs to get away from all the antics. He needs a new team completely. He needs to get rid of all these glorified cheerleaders. Tell his fat ass daddy to take a step back. He needs to get serious now. He needs to do that Rocky IV shit when he went to fucking Russia and Siberia, pulled cars in snows, and really get stuck in, because this guy he needs to take the game serious, because otherwise he'll get seriously hurt.
But Joker, the point that you made as well, like every guy he's faced apart from Maidana, I think he always had a size advantage. I mean, DeMarco was like bigger than him, but he was much skinnier as well. Like, he's always been the bully in the ring. He always was allowed to come forward and just boss the guys around, and this is the first time where a guy was bigger than him and he came forward, so I think he needs a style change as well. I don't even know if the guy is capable of boxing on the back foot. I know he has a decent amateur background, but he didn't show that in the Maidana fight, and a lot of people were predicting that he would box, actually.
I think Joker Boxing made a great point about that in one of his videos. He was saying, it's not that I don't think he can use his feet and fight on the back foot. I think it's because he's so used to being bigger and stronger than his opponents. He's just walking them down and bullying him. But he couldn't do that to Maidana. He had to get on the back foot. He had to get on his toe. And it was just like he was lost. It was like he'd forgot what to do, how to fight on the back foot. It was just a horrific performance from Broner. So, and I don't think we're going to see him that bad again. That's why I'll give him a chance in the rematch.
Yeah, well, I agree with both of you guys 100%, Kimo and Stewart, because this guy, he says that he emulates Mayweather, but you look at what Mayweather did when Mayweather had to fight a bigger, stronger fighter. Look at how Mayweather fought Canelo. Did Mayweather go in there trying to walk down Canelo and prove a point and hang in the pocket? No, he was on the back foot from round one. He used his jab, and he used ring movement, and that's something that Broner did not do and hasn't shown that ability yet in his career. So like you brought up, Kimo, he's been fighting these smaller guys, and he's just been the bully in there. And finally, he met a guy that was bigger and stronger and had no clue what to do. I mean, just complete lack of preparation, unprofessionalism to realize that he was in there with a guy in Maidana who's a warrior. He's big, he's strong, and he's got power, man. And like I said, he got a complete reality check. And the reality check is that he's not there yet. He's not where he thought he was at. He's got a lot of work to do. This guy is just, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit above prospect level, and he's being talked about as a 3-time world champion, so I don't want to take anything away from him for what he's done, but like you said, in all of those fights that he's had significant advantages over his opponents, and even in those fights, like Gavin Reese and Paulie Malignaggi, he still took a lot of hits in that fight, so I don't know what in his career has led people to believe that he's the next Floyd Mayweather other than his hype and him just running his mouth.
It's funny because you compared him actually to Canelo, and Canelo also has kind of the same issue. I don't want to get too much into it, but he's always had this size advantage as well, and they're kind of similar in that respect. But the thing with Broner is, I don't know if it's stamina issues, the fact that he doesn't throw his shots, because if you look at the 12th round, he was coming on quite strong, man. He was throwing combinations. I think it's more of a mental thing with him. Like, he's just content with throwing pot shots, and he needs to get away from that idea, because he seems to be in good shape. I don't think he's incapable of doing it,
No, I thought he was in good shape. I must admit, I do think he was in, because he did take some big punches, and he was still in there